Hello and welcome to Nonny, Yanga's flagship talk show where we discuss all the hot topics. In today's show, we'll be discussing the growth of the multi-million-pound wedding industry, and we'll look at how society's views of marriage have changed. And later on in the show, we'll celebrate one of London's top Ghanaian restaurants in our new segment, Nonny Bites. Joining me today are the visionaries and founders of My Dream Wedding Fair, Nana Todlana from Lovable Memories and Gracie May from the May Company. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
Din, 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 din. The global wedding industry is estimated to be worth over $300 billion and is growing bigger every day. From picking the perfect venue, caterers, flowers and the best photographer, the to-do list of a newly engaged couple is ever growing. Millennials are said to be revolutionising the way we celebrate marriage, from Snapchat geofilters and Instagram hashtags to drones filming the big day and celebrity performers. My Dream Wedding Fair is the flagship bridal show for the African and Caribbean community, providing couples with access to elite vendors all under one roof. I've got to say, when I heard about you guys, I was like, oh my gosh, where were you when I was getting married all those years ago? Like, honestly, it's just amazing. Tell me about the inspiration and when you started, Gracie.
Okay, so My Dream Wedding Fair, as you said, flagship bridal show for couples of African and Caribbean descent. And we saw a gap in the market, right? We're looking at diversity, inclusion, introducing couples to vendors that are culturally relevant to them, and our space is a place where culture is celebrated.
Culturally relevant, tell me about that. Are we talking about the jollof rice caterer, or is it a little bit more nuanced?
It is. So the average wedding in this country, a couple can spend up to 32k.
Even more?
Yeah. Even more.
Even more.
But studies say 32k is the average.
Wow.
And that is drastically different for couples from African and Caribbean descent.
Okay.
So as a Nigerian, you might have a traditional wedding as well as your white wedding,
yes,
and that already takes the price up by 1.5. So you're looking at 40 to 45k.
Wow.
Having things like you said, traditional food, traditional musicians,
Ashwebi,
the fashion, everything.
Yeah.
It increases the price.
Yes.
I mean, there are slight nuances, like you said, where, you know, catering from like an English background might be £80 a head, whereas in our community it's about £30 a head on average.
Yes.
So there are a few things that are slightly cheaper, but in general, the overall cost is a lot.
You guys seem quite young. Why did you decide to do it? You said there was a gap in the market, but what was it? Was it getting married yourselves, or was it talking to your friends and family?
I think it's a mixture. I got married 4 years ago, and the only wedding fair I pretty much knew was the National Wedding Fair.
Yes.
And that didn't really include a lot of people from the African and Caribbean background.
What was it like when you got there? Kind of whitewashed?
Yeah.
You're allowed to say that or not?
Just be careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. And so being in the wedding industry myself, I also wanted to find a place to exhibit. Well, I'm a wedding planner, so I want to find a place to exhibit what I'm selling, if you like.
Yeah.
And I looked around, and I think I found about just one.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, there's nowhere to exhibit the things you're looking for.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to exhibit your culture. And because there's specific things, is always by word of mouth. Oh, do you know someone who cooks?
Of
oh,
course.
do you know someone who does
Go
this?
to Liverpool Street Market, turn left to the right, you will see Auntie Shop.
Yes.
And always, And we found that there wasn't really an avenue where you could go and find all these things in one place. So I spoke to Gracie and we're like, oh my gosh, should we do this? And she was like, yeah, oh my gosh, I was thinking of the same thing. And from there we kind of started planning, and the first one was in April, and it was pretty much successful.
Huge
so
success.
Like,
the industry's changing. I said that in my top link, that now you've got the geo filters. If there's no geo filter, your wedding is not popping. Even like with all the hashtags on Instagram, you know, Ayo Ade 18 or something like that. It is changing. Did you guys you know, swoop in on the market just as it was changing, or are you finding with some of the old school vendors that our parents knew are kind of dying out for a new breed?
I mean, sorry, Nana. Yeah. I think you've hit the nail on the head. The old school, if we can call them that, wedding suppliers and vendors are finding it hard to keep up with the digital age, because everything is social media. If you haven't got a pop in Instagram, a pop in Twitter,
you want to see the evidence. Okay, she can do makeup. Where's our gram? Where's the gram page? What is an elite vendor? Describe that, because of course most of our viewers will know Bella Niger weddings, Ashwebi Bella. There's so many of them, but not everybody has that price point, boy. But what is elite for you guys? What would you say is kind of of like, yeah, this is a top of the range vendor for an African Caribbean couple? Is the Aso-Ebi the most expensive thing? Is it the venue?
Yes.
Is it the red bottom shoe?
So with every
It's
wedding,
everything.
the top three
Yes.
expenses are venue,
Yes.
entertainment and food. The average spend of a venue in London is 6K. Because of our community, our weddings are big, right?
Yeah.
We need big venues. There's
Yes.
a popular big venue in North London where their base rate for a Wednesday is 20K. That's an annual
yeah,
salary. You know
yeah.
the venue I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah.
People book the venue.
People,
Yeah,
and
it's
it is
booked.
Nigerians,
Yeah,
Africans.
yeah.
Africans, Caribbeans.
Obviously, the Asian community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a bit above us. You know, they just spend
It's
a bit
true.
more coin, don't
Yeah.
So
they?
our average spend in the African community is about 50K when you combine the traditional and the white wedding.
Hey!
The average Asian wedding, just the one, is
yeah.
75K.
Oh,
so
wow,
they're
so we're nearly there.
we're getting
Oh,
there.
we're getting there.
And our suppliers, I mean, from last year to this year, from research that I've done, apparently it's 12% more that we're charging now. So we're also
Okay,
realizing our worth and actually
Yes.
making sure that the rate we're charging customers matches what we're delivering.
I think nowadays everyone's prices go up every single year. So you can't say
Wow,
to the person,
really?
if someone asks me, I can't say, oh yeah, it's £20. No, it's not. It's gone up. So you're constantly checking.
It's the
rising.
professionalism
That's
there
it.
as well with
No.
our because you know
We're
and
getting
we've
there.
discussed this on Noni. Sometimes I don't know what it is about some black businesses, especially the community. Sometimes the service
And the
is not
Caribbean.
and okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. Oh, you said it, girl, not me, boy. Don't
It's
call
work
him.
in progress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a work in progress. Okay.
I think there's a lot of things that
service is important.
Right.
Come
Yeah,
on.
it is.
But even timekeeping is one of the things that
Yes.
in our community we're more relaxed with
Yeah.
as a people, right? So when it comes to, so we're both wedding coordinators,
Yes,
and obviously timing is key to everything we do. And when we're speaking to our vendors, we're like, hey, we know you're professional already,
But
just to
can you
set
be
the
on time?
scene,
Yes.
we're just letting you know that we haven't given you African time. When we've said please arrive at 8 a.m. to set up,
8 a.m.
it's
You must
8
be there
a.m.
at 8
In
a.m..
fact, coming on time is coming late. We need you to be there early.
Wow, I'm so excited about this.
Yeah.
I kind of better not get married again, but maybe we can renew our vows and hire you two. Still to come, we continue our discussion by looking at how society's views on marriage have changed. And later we'll be joined by owner of Zoe's Ghana Kitchen, Zoe Ajonyo, for Noni Bites. See you after the break. Welcome back to Noni. Now, society is guilty of portraying marriage as just a one-day ordeal. The focus of the big day is often on picking the perfect venue, dress, bridesmaids and groomsmen, instead of the lifelong commitment a couple is making to one another. Many deem marriage as simply a waste of money and an excuse to have an extravagant and lavish wedding. The cost of the average wedding in the UK has reached an all-time high of over £30,000, and over half of married Brits regret spending so much on their wedding. Is there too much focus on the wedding day? Now, I know you are business women, but let's talk frank, because I'm sure, you know, even with, you know, setting up the fair as you've done, you must have seen some bridezillas and you're thinking, wow, do you actually even care about your partner? Or is it all about, you know, me, 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 me?
I think the wedding, to be honest, as you were talking about social media earlier on, I think that's an added pressure. You want that cake, you want that dress, you want to be the hashtag.
By any means
And
necessary.
yeah, you want to be the hashtag, and you find out people taking out loans just for the wedding day, and just to be on Instagram, really, Insta famous if you like, and forget about your actual marriage.
Yeah.
So it's, in a way, it's a bit of a shame.
Yes.
But at the same time, if you have it, flaunt it, why not?
Money woman,
If you have the money, why not? If you can afford it.
Go on, Gracie.
Yeah, I always
mean-
encourage my customers, my clients, cut your coat according to your size, right? Call in favours if you need to. A lot of people do ask
If
their
you need to
family.
call in a favour, do it.
Look, have no shame. No, sister, we've got to be real. And a lot of people do, you know, hide the fact that they borrow money from family or family gift them.
It's quite common though
It
for
is,
Africans.
yeah.
It is.
In every wedding that my family have ever had, you're all called round,
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
kind of like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Right.
doing, yeah.
And you know, it's not limited to just our community. We were looking at
Yes.
Hitched, which is one of the biggest wedding platforms in the country, and they said 67% of all weddings have family contribution.
Oh, wow.
So it's across
Okay.
the board. It is
Yeah.
across the board. But I think when it becomes excessive, is like you said, when people take out loans. You never want to be in debt. Why would you start your marriage with that?
Do you think that's common?
A lot of
think
people,
so.
and
I think there's
a lot of
pressure now.
parents as well, they'll do it without the couple knowing, and then they find out slightly later, which I've heard of a lot in our industry.
Yeah.
And it is the pressure.
Do you think it's important, guys, that if you are doing affairs such as this, that you do have people, even if it's counsellors or just somebody that's there, even if it's a pastor, to talk about the marriage, not just about the wedding day and spend. It's a bit like Christmas, isn't it? You spend all your money, you know, come Boxing Day, you're broke, and half the toys are in the bin.
Yeah. That's something we're definitely looking into, but also at our last fair, we gave a bit of a talk about how to
good.
plan your day, how to manage your money, and just little
That's
bits
really
there and here
important.
and there. And we're doing that, you're doing that talk this time.
So we have demos throughout the day. So we have, you know, fashion show, we have a makeup demo, and one of the talks is about planning for the day, but
Yeah.
for also after the day. So for instance, the average honeymoon in this country is about 5K. People spend 5K on top of what they're spending for their wedding. When you're back from your honeymoon, where are you going to be? Are you renting?
Can
Are
I
you
tell
living with
the
a parent?
Truth? Unless it's a kind of Bella Nigel wedding, a lot of the couples I know in the UK are not even doing honeymoons anymore. They're kind of laying low,
Yep.
or they go into like a moat hotel in the country.
A mini moon.
A mini. Oh, is that what it? See,
Mini moon.
And the honeymoon.
Okay, girl.
You had a mini moon and a honeymoon.
I think that was a
Okay.
bit of pressure though.
No, but there is
enjoyed it.
big, and I think it's because some people literally can't afford it. Can they?
Yeah. I know loads of couples, even after the wedding, they don't go immediately. So even, for example, in
Yes.
July is quite the high season, so everything tends to be like 10 times more expensive. And so they'll save up and go next year or go when they actually can. So
And as the only person on the panel that's not married,
Yet.
ladies, I'm telling you, yet. I'm ready to spend that coin. I'm ready. I want the cake that's 6 tiers. I want the food to be amazing. I want people to walk away and be like, that was an experience. Not purely because we're already in the wedding industry, and not purely because I already know all the different trends, but I want to have a good day. It's supposed to be one of the best days of my
make you
life.
happy, so
Yeah, and I'm not neglecting the fact that I might do marriage counselling to make I will definitely
Pre
do and post marriage counselling to make sure that, you know, the character of the marriage is there. But it doesn't neglect the fact that I expect everybody to spend top dollar on my day.
I love it. It's time for Nonny Bites, the segment of the show where we celebrate those giving us a taste of back home. Joining me now is Zoe Ajonyo. Zoe is a trained home cook, restaurant owner, and most recently acclaimed cookbook author. 8 years ago, Zoe launched a supper club that later evolved into a food stall, and in 2015 she took a leap and opened her Brixton restaurant, Zoe's Ghana Kitchen, which is said to be one of the best Ghanaian restaurants in London. Over the last 7 years, Zoe has introduced thousands of Londoners to traditional Ghanaian meals, remixed for the modern kitchen, and today I'm lucky enough to get to try some of these dishes. I'm so excited, honestly. I'm not greedy. I know I've got a bit of this here, but Zoe, it's so good to have you. Thank you for joining us, and I mean it because you're famous in the food world. You are, because you've crossed over, Zoe. Would you say so?
Crossed over.
You have, because I would say, yeah, you've crossed the line, because traditionally, a lot of African restaurants, you very rarely see English people, mixed race people going into them, but with your restaurant, you see everybody, right?
You do. It's a place for everyone, my food. I mean, yes, we have crossed over, but that's 8 years of very, very hard work and a lot of, you know, championing this food. It's part of my heritage and culture that I love.
Yeah.
And just wanting to share it with as many people as possible. And yeah, we're getting there, I think. The whole restaurant and food scene generally is having an amazing renaissance when it comes to African food right now, so I'm excited about that.
Wow, can you show us every dish? I'm a Naijabi, so I recognize some of these things, but for those of us that are not familiar, let's start at the far corner. You can just tell us what every dish is before we... Gracie, calm down, Gracie. Not yet. What are they all?
Yeah, so at the top we've got Nigerians will recognise suya. So we've got suya roasted cauliflower there.
Oh my gosh.
We've got a pretty traditional staple in Ghana, which is red and plantain. Well, red and plantain, depends what part.
Red, is that beans?
It's black eye beans stew with, we've got some cinnamon coated plantain there. These are, it's like a version of couscous, so it's a black eye bean fritter with okra and chili and coriander in there. And then you have my Ghanaian guacamole, which has paposhito in there and some suya roasted peanuts. And
I hope you're going to give us all these recipes, girl.
Go by the good.
Okay.
And this is a roasted guinea fowl in a groundnut sauce with baked plantain. And this is my jollof spiced chicken, so my marinade for the jollof, you know, 11 different herbs and spices is on the chicken there, and then we served it with a cold salad. The tomatoes are roasted in dawa dawa.
They're not bent, they are roasted. Do you know what, girls? You tuck in and have a lovely try and tell me what you think. You talk about, you know, crossing over, the restaurants crossing over. What did you think of Jamie Oliver's jollof?
Jollof Gate, oh my
God. Jollof Gate, yeah. Is it cultural appropriation or is it cultural appreciation? Because some people weren't bothered, but then many people were.
Yeah, I think it's a really fine line, actually. I just got back from an amazing festival in Ibiza called Amorivore, a food festival, and I got the opportunity to speak for an hour on this topic of cultural appropriation. And I do think it's something we have to be mindful of, because this is a really, Africa is an amazing continent. There's 54 countries of very different cuisines, all of which haven't had a chance yet to really shine and shout for themselves in their own right. So I think we have to be a bit careful. I do respect any cook and chef that
wants to kind of experiment with tastes
and work with new flavours and ingredients, and that's certainly what my cookbook and my kitchen's about, is encouraging that. But I think we have to be careful who's doing the appropriating. And how far that goes.
I definitely want to tuck in, but before I do, let me ask you two guys, because obviously you're wedding vendors. I can see you're enjoying this wine.
Loving it.
You're loving it. But do you think also, girls, and quite seriously, because I know we joke about the Nigeria Ghana thing, but do you think that can be dangerous, or do you think it's a bit of fun? Do you think we should be celebrating that we cook our jollof differently, even if Nigeria's sometimes
never carry last?
Go on.
Nigel gets burnt a lot, right?
That's what I used to
Zoe. Wow.
No, it's called party rice. It's called party rice. I've learned.
It's smoky. It's for a reason.
The last one I went to wasn't burnt. I was like, oh, this is different.
No, but
I think good though.
I think it's good to have healthy competition, right? It encourages you to up your standards. It encourages you to try and find your niche, and you've done that, right? You've been able to mix that and come up with, like you said, remixing what we traditionally love, like suya flavoured cauliflower. Never thought I would love it. Divine.
And this is absolutely amazing, I must say, and I can't wait to finish it off camera before all the crew put their hands on it. But Zoe, what is next? Have you been embraced by the African community, or is it more important if you're in London to be embraced by everybody?
Well, I mean, my ambitions are vast, so London isn't enough.
Yeah.
But, you know, we have a very good mix of clientele in London. We do a lot of wedding catering. We do lots of catering for
bougie weddings, English weddings.
Oh, you can get bougie Africans, babes.
Yeah, we've just been talking about that. Not that I'm one.
So there's all sorts of clientele there, and I'm glad that we have a very wide spectrum, not just in terms of the diaspora, but also ages and parts of the world. But next for me is, you know, I've been championing West African food and flavours for a long time, and it's always been in a fast casual environment as far as the restaurant's concerned. But now I'm going to be launching a new project in 2019 called Sankofa. Ghanaians will recognise Sankofa. Which is more of a private dining sort of supper club experience. That allows me to, let's just say, embrace more of the African continent's cuisines, be a bit more experimental, and practice what I've been learning over the last 8 years in terms of my technique and development. You know, I started as a self-taught cook, but I've had, you know, after cooking thousands and thousands and thousands of dinners for people, you know, I've learned some things. And so now it's the next level. So it's growing Ghana Kitchen, but also having a little side project that entertains me. Oh, can I mention one more thing real quick?
Of course, come on. We're all in awe. We're like, it is.
One thing I do want to mention is I just got back from Ghana a month or so ago. And this is kind of on the topic of cultural appropriation, actually. But I found this amazing change had happened in Accra in terms of the food scene there. And there's obviously a huge growing middle class. Some of the bits that I was concerned about is I had some trouble trying to source very local grains like millet and fonio and things like that. And I also noticed that, like, my beloved chop bars were getting dashed in place of lots of high-end Western restaurants. And I think there's a conversation that needs to be had there about Ghanaians not losing touch with their own grains and their ability to grow that product and feed themselves, basically, as well as, you know, keep pushing the cuisine forward. So anyway, I spoke to Chef Jay from Mukasi Chic. I don't know if you know her, and Chef Binta Fulani Kitchen.
Gosh, we're learning today. Keep talking.
And we had this, you know, revolution, you know, like you have a cocktails after dinner. And we decided to create an African food forum, basically.
Oh, wow.
So our plan is to go back to Accra in 2020 and create a platform for chefs in Africa. Get people from around the world to come and have a conversation with us, what they can learn from us and what we can learn from them.
Wow.
And share that, and also talk about provenance and sustainability and how do we stop China flooding Africa with its cheap cheap things.
Gone off. Gone off.
I didn't say gone off.
I said it. Plastic.
Yeah, plastic.
We said it, and we always talk about stuff like this on Nonny. But Zoe, it's so short. Please come back.
Oh, I'm sorry, I talked a lot.
No, you didn't. And please invite me to this African forum and invite me down to Brixton. I'm coming.
Oh God, we're not in Brixton anymore.
Oh.
Watch out, we're in East London now.
Oh, okay.
I'll invite you to Sankofa when we launch.
I'm coming. You heard that first. It's been amazing speaking to you. I can't wait to eat all this food. So let me hurry up and do this. That's it from me, Juliana Oluyinka, and my fantastic guests, Nana Todlana and Gracie May. And of course, a special thank you to Zoe Ojonyo from Zoe's Ghana Kitchen. Join me next time for more Nonny Chat. Goodbye.